And good morning. We are live with the Hypnic Jerks and Justice. Good morning. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing super great. It was a super nice weekend. I planted some pumpkins in the garden, and I'm super stoked about that. What about you? How are you doing?
It's really hot outside, and I plan on getting into my garden today. Pretty excited about the weather. It's finally picking back up. So today's guest that we have is Chris Holt.
Yeah. Let me pull him in. All right, he's joining. Give it a sec. There we go.
Morning, Chris.
Hey,
how you doing?
Morning. How are you?
Maximum volume.
Hello.
I hear we have the whole city council in the meeting right now. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all just rolling out of bed now.
Yeah.
They'll be down.
So, good morning to you. Good morning. And the way to start off our mornings is usually for us to play a little bit of a video from the AVB podcast that we recorded a long time ago. So, you know Tony Cotes, don't you?
I do.
Well, we are going to play a beautiful video from Tony Cotes from a while ago on the AVB podcast while we just make sure we got all our technical stuff in order. Here we go.
Hey, we're Pindles, and this song's called Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Cotes.
Baby, don't sleep. Well, I need your soul awake with me between the sheets, playing hide and seek. Ooh, I shouldn't be peeking into your eyes, down to them toes, way past your thighs. Got me mesmerized. Ooh, 'cause my little bird, well, I know it hurts sometimes, but hey, ooh, they say without pain it ain't living. And these words, well, I hope they wrap around your heart and they keep you from sinking apart, baby. Well, I hope they don't take you away from my loving. Just got way too much of it, honey, built up before you. Oh, ain't that the truth? Well, I could go on like a madman, just fighting my own demons, but in the end, I'd rather not see you cry. Oh, 'cause my little bird, well, I know it hurts sometimes, but hey, ooh, they say without pain it ain't living. And these words, well, I hope they wrap around your heart and they keep you from sinking to bottom, baby. Yes, it is. Cause my little bird, well, I know it hurts sometimes, but hey, who they say without pain it ain't living. And these words, well, I hope they wrap around your heart and they keep you from sinking to bottom, baby. Now what?
And good morning again. That was Tony Cotes off of the AVB podcast. I love that song. It's in my playlist.
It's a super sweet one. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome back to Chris Holt, who we're going to be catching up a little bit with and talking about some of the new initiatives that the city has going on. Do we want to touch on what's happening at Lansbury Park for right now?
You can if you like. I'm all yours for now. I don't have a lot of details. I'll give you a little bit of a backtrack. What sort of what transpired with the whole Lansbury thing. So as everybody knows, there's a deadly disease going on, and it's causing us to spend a lot of time in our houses and then talking over our computers. So during the whole pandemic, we found out that the hospitality industry was hit particularly hard due to social distancing, due to having to close our doors. I say our doors because I'm also in the hospitality industry. So City Council has been watching a lot of the responses from other municipalities around the globe. And we do talk, we do pick up the phone every once in a while and say, hey, what do you think of this idea? It might work here, it might work there. So council was very responsive when it came to these discussions. It's we were throwing out ideas left, right, and center, and we had just I think we're going to be ratifying the vote later on today. I've got a council meeting at 1 o'clock today, but so what council basically agreed upon was waiving patio fees, encroachment fees for retailers. So basically allowing bars and restaurants and retailers, clothing retailers, whatever, to utilize the public space in front of their stores to accommodate social distancing and just to try to help them get some semblance of money coming in. So in that motion, we also supported a pilot project by Windsor Eats, which is to utilize Lansbury Park a few times over the course of the season for what they're calling a food hall. So the details of that, I'm not really certain about. You'd have to ask Adriano for that. But basically, City Council is waiving the fees, and we're accelerating the permit process to allow them to set up. And I can only guess that they're going to be inviting a whole bunch of different members of the hospitality industry to come out to Lansbury Park and set up their wares and sell food and that type of thing. So that's my assumption. Don't take me to task on that. But council has been very swift and very supportive of pretty much any idea that we're putting forward these days.
Yeah, I was pretty excited to kind of hear about the idea of the patios and that open front space being a little bit more utilized by the businesses. Justice and I handle the Ottawa Street Business Association social media, so we are we keep up a little bit with what's happening at Lansbury Park. But also the great thing now, as the disease has hit and we're all kind of dealing with different businesses. There are streets like Ottawa Street where it's literally a traffic kind of controlled. It's a traffic slowed area already. The sidewalks are a little bit larger. The BIA is kind of chattering a little bit back and forth about this being a little bit more like an open mall, since the closed malls may not be the place to go. So I'm excited we're debating after the last council meeting. Councillor Bordelin put forward a motion to close one lane of Riverside Drive to accommodate social distancing. For active transportation, cyclists, pedestrians, that type of thing. Unfortunately, that idea didn't have council support to move forward. But I put forward a subsequent motion asking about specifically Paulette Village and Old Riverside BIAs and lane closures and ideas that we could do with them to accommodate social distancing. That report is coming back. We're going to be debating it tonight. And I think we might have some council support over allowing curbside pickup zones, eliminating parking in some areas, eliminating street parking to allow for social distancing, pedestrian movement around there. Then another big part of that is also bicycle lanes as well. Yeah. So those things are all in the report that we're going to be debating tonight. So it's exciting. It's too bad that we had to wait until
a pandemic hit and we're sort of at
Yeah.
our lowest, but it's also making us more creative. I think it's giving us a willingness to think outside the box and to think about accommodating all these people and the businesses.
Well,
So it's going to be great. So hopefully something good comes out of the debate this afternoon at council.
I was sort of surprised to hear that the street that they wouldn't close a lane on Riverside Drive. I mean, I've been involved with the bike community here for a little while after moving back to Vancouver, and I have 2 little girls, and Hannah just had her birthday. I just had my birthday. It's a really nice time, great weather to get out, and I'd love to go for a ride as a family. But we specifically diverted ourselves from going near the Riverside and that park, because we knew that literally all of those walkways and everything would be covered with people. And that moist, heavy breathing that people are doing when they're cycling and when they're jogging, I'd like to have a little bit of room around me. Hopefully they'll reconsider. We'll see, right?
I'm not holding my breath. Council tends to look at recreation differently than the big thing about what we've been debating lately is it's affecting businesses, it's affecting people's employment, it's affecting their income. So it seems like they're more willing to accommodate them as opposed to sort of recreational cyclists, that type of thing. I don't know why, but cycling is still very political. It's you bring cycling and you bring active transportation into a conversation, and you create these fissures, these wedges, and I don't think it does council a service when that happens. But it's almost automatic. It's almost visceral when that happens, and I think unfortunately that's what happened with Riverside Drive, and the idea of taking away space for cars is still seen as a step backwards, and we're changing that though. That it's this is my second term at council. Things have changed, and I've noticed a willingness of my council colleagues to actually to work with me on a lot of these, because I'm known as the bike guy for some reason. If they saw my physique, they would know I'm not a bike guy. But I do like to accommodate for cycling, for alternatives to the automobile. So I think it creates just a better city to live in, and it makes us healthier in the meantime and richer. Yeah.
Well, let's change hats, shift gears, and let's talk about how we all deal with some of the council decisions. You have a brewery, and you've just released an amazing new beer. Talk about that new beer.
I love it. Yeah, it's so the latest beer we just brewed our second batch, because the first batch sold out in just a couple weeks. It's called a Cascadian Dark Ale, but everybody knows that it's black IPA. Its origins are in the Cascadian regions on the West Coast, so it uses a lot of West Coast hops and malts and that type of thing. So it's a dark black IPA. It's called Baboon Heart. We're trying to come up with a name for this, and it's funny coming up with the usual suspects. And I was sitting out in the back deck, and my wife comes out. It's a sunny day, and she asked me if the sun is warming my baboon heart, and kind of implying that I've got a dark side to me, and this beer has a dark side. So I named it Baboon Heart for my lovely wife Nancy, she just celebrated her 48th birthday. So happy birthday, Nancy, and happy birthday 6 too.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's quite a few of our friends are celebrating their special days over the past couple days. So that's the genesis of Baboon Heart. Another fresh batch in bottles are awaiting you in the tap room. So, and yes, it helps me through 1 or 2 council meetings.
Jeff Kerr, who also had a birthday, he shares it with Nancy, a really good friend of mine. We both had very similar ideas of what we would give each other for our birthdays, which was Chapter 2 beer. So he came over with a Cantina. It was a bottle without a label. Cantina.
The Cantina Cerveza. So that's
yeah.
So we have some special beers that we do. This beer, the one that you enjoyed, we make that specifically for the Grand Cantina on Drulard. So we came up with that. We developed that recipe with John Alvarez, who's the chef owner at the cantina, and developed that beer, and it's sold exclusively at the cantina. During the pandemic, we had loads of this beer, so we talked to John and we said, John, can we just put it in bottles and just sell it so it doesn't go bad? And so we did. And so that is the beer. It's the only draft beer you can get at the cantina, and we're currently putting it in bottles at the brewery. So yeah, it's another tasty beer.
Well, let's talk about you guys trying to keep up on the beer and the brewing. I mean, with not having, obviously nobody foresees anything like this happening. So your brewing schedule happened at kind of a regular pace, and brewing takes some time, hey?
It does. Yeah. So it's changed us. It's changed our entire business model. So you think about it, and I'm sure it's the same for many very small breweries. The vast majority of the liquid that we make, we sell it, we pour it into a glass, and we hand it to you across the counter. And you enjoy it in the tap room. That's where 98% of our beer is sold. Is right in our tap room, and it's very easy. Pull a glass out, pour it, and hand it over to you. Now, 100% of our beer is going into bottles. So we have to buy the bottles, buy the labels, buy the caps, hire somebody to put the beer into the. So our expenses have gone through the roof, and just the putting that beer out to everybody is changed dramatically. So it's very different. We've had to invest in some new equipment.
Okay.
We actually right now, as we speak, we're creating a new unit tank at the brewery to increase our production capabilities a bit to try to keep up. We're actually selling pretty close to the same amount of beer that we did before.
Okay.
The difference is it's all going into bottles.
Yeah, I actually was, on the outside, kind of seeing all the breweries kind of being sold out of stuff, and trying to catch up with the demand. But I really didn't think about most of your stuff being produced in kegs for just for your tap room versus now what you've got to do to bottle it all and get it out. So yeah, I didn't think about those sort of the hidden costs. The new bottle boy at Chapter Two. Who was you for quite a while, man.
Yeah.
Endless hours. That's what I was seeing. You're like, no, gotta go bottle the beer. I gotta go bottle the beer.
I was always bottling 7 days a week. I just recently, last week was my first week back to my regular day job at Ford Motor Company. But so the whatever 62 days that I was off, I was at the brewery 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, just putting beer in bottles, and it was tiring, but it gave me this amazing glimpse of. I get to retire from my Ford job in 1,561 days.
Nobody's counting.
I'm really looking forward to that day where I get my 30 years and out. I'm done with Ford Motor Company, and obviously I want to spend more time at the brewery. So it gave me a wonderful sort of glimpse at what my retirement life is going to be like. And you know what, the whole brewing industry, it's such a tight-knit group of really great, creative, social guys and gals. It's a wonderful way to spend your time, mm-hmm. and I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be fantastic.
That's awesome. It's great to hear sort of what you're stoked about long term, but do you have anything now that we're sort of getting more used to the new normal? What are you looking forward to a little more short term? What's keeping you going?
Oh, I don't know. We're doing some changes at the brewery. I don't know what. I guess I could let it out. We've recently purchased a canning machine, so we'll be putting beer into cans.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's a long, drawn-out process, though. Everybody is every brewery is in the same boat as Chapter Two is. We're all switching our sales over to takeaway and LCBO and that type of thing. So the call for bottles and cans is astronomical. we're getting a canning machine built for us out in Alberta. So that will be coming to us hopefully next month. And converting all our artwork. G-Hawk has been working and redoing all our artwork to go on cans. It's a fun, exciting time. It's a little nerve-wracking because I could have bought myself a Ferrari for all this money spending on tanks and machines and stuff like that.
The bike guy buys a Ferrari. Yep.
Yeah, your traditional midlife crisis. It's buying a sports car or something like that. No, I buy a new vessel here. So this just arrived here. This just arrived at the brewery, and the boys are all actually unpacking this thing. I don't know how well this is going to show up. So that's one of our new tanks.
Yeah.
Back in November, I bought a new unit tank for the brewery to increase production. And we've been going through some pretty horrible experiences with getting this thing from Toronto back home to Windsor. But it's finally here.
Yeah.
And it's like Christmas at the brewery right now. They're unpacking it and looking at all this new shiny stainless steel. And I'm kind of jealous. But I like spending time with you guys, so it's okay.
Yeah. Well, a little bit on that. Justice and I have spent a lot of time with Chris Holt. I'm sure that there's people that are watching this that might have caught some of the stuff that we were doing with you before, which was the weekly updates for City Council. We really enjoyed that. That was sort of, even that kind of community connection that we had with you, and that, repeating like a weekly thing really fast and putting stuff out. It was a little bit of workflow stuff, but it got us involved in like really enjoying knowing what's going to go on, kind of what's coming up, but ultimately hanging out with you was pretty cool, and it was a lot of fun.
You guys,
Agreed.
I really miss that.
Me too.
Yeah, it was. You guys made me look great for one thing. I don't know how you did it. The removing the receding hairline filter that you put on me.
Yeah. We call that the Donald Trump hair, right? We just
spray it on. But it was. I'm really sorry that we're not able to do that, and that's completely on me. I just, there's not enough. As it is, I'm only sleeping about 42 minutes a night as it is. But there wasn't enough time in the day to actually continue it. We did it. I forget. We did something like 25 shows, 30 episodes,
half a year,
something like that. And it was wonderful for me because the timeline that you needed forced me to get the agenda, read through it all that day, and really get prepared, not just for the coming council meeting in 2 weeks, but also for the agenda preview for you, so we could share that with the general public. So I think it made me a better councillor, which I guess the reason I'm not as good of a counselor now because of that. But it was great, and I've got a lot of positive feedback on that. And you guys did an amazing job, and your public service in bringing that out to the general public. Well, let's also give a shout out. Thank you. But also give a shout out to Reno, because Reno just did a video on understanding city council meetings, right? And the agendas. We had chatted about doing that, so I'm glad that one way or another it ends up out there, because the important thing is that the community knows how to respond to some of these issues that are up there, how to get up and make their points and make themselves heard, instead of just sitting back and accepting their decisions. So it was always very Reno and I got elected in 2014 at the same time, so we both went through the growing pains at the same time. We both we both tackled the learning curve at the same time, and we both came to those conclusions that these are something that we want to do. We wanted to do videos like this since we got elected back in 2014. So the reality then reared its ugly head, and so at the lack of time that we have as active counselors. They say it's a part-time job, but we're working 60, 80 hours a week on this part-time job. And it just didn't allow for us to do a lot of the other things that we wanted to do. So I managed to squeeze a few things in with the help of you guys. Reno has, during the pandemic, been doing some of the things that we've been discussing back 6 years ago, and that is how to read a council agenda, how to, for the general public to engage with the system and create the best kind of outcomes. That was always very important to us. And I'm thrilled to see he's actually doing it. He's got more technical abilities than me. He's all fancy on the computer and reading and clicking on the computer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not me. We haven't done printed agendas since the pandemic began, and I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I'm struggling without pieces of paper in front of me.
Has it really changed kind of city council in the way that everything is functioning that way? And not to get into a big long thing with it, but just.
I find that because now we're not getting, normally every single Friday we would have our mail drop on our front porch. So we would get the coming week's agendas, we would get all correspondence mail and all that kind of stuff that would normally, that goes to our mailbox at City Hall, and it gets dropped off on Fridays. So, I work in a factory, and so I would take this whole bundle of papers and stuff, my highlighters and my pens, and whenever I have a chance in between jobs on the factory floor, I would open this thing up and I would read, make notes and everything like that. So they actually stopped printing agendas when this thing started. So now I have to do everything on the computer, and I sound like a grandfather when I'm talking like this. I get it, but I don't have the same kind of productivity staring at a screen that I do with a piece of paper. It's and then these Zoom meetings. It's that's how we take care of council business nowadays. Either phone-in meetings or Zoom meetings. It's very different. I miss the culture at City Hall. I miss getting dressed and then all congregating. It's maybe it's I don't know. It's when you get together in council chambers and you see everybody, you see the reactions of everybody, and you get a better feel of the proceedings. You get a better feel of how things are going to be moving forward. And I don't get that now. It's been a few months now of struggling through these Zoom meetings, and it's definitely not the same. I'm really looking forward to actually congregating back in council chambers, having the delegates there live in person, getting the vibe, getting the feel of the gallery, and it's all feedback that I thrive on, and I'm looking forward to getting back to that.
That's awesome. Thanks. Well, thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you so much for taking a little bit and letting us know how you're doing and where your various projects are at. We super appreciate it.
Yeah, our appreciation really runs deep. I'm going to just interrupt you, Chris, and I want to thank you very much for supporting our other little endeavor, which is Breakfast with the Band. So Breakfast with the Band is going to be hopefully happening on Saturday or Sunday mornings, and Chapter 2 sponsors that, so we try and get out some local beer to some of the musicians that we're talking with. We've had 2 of them inside edition locked down recently, and we've got another one coming up on Sunday, and we're really excited to kind of not only hang out, drink your beer, which is always fun on a Saturday morning or Saturday or Sunday morning, but we're going to be releasing some new music, which is pretty awesome that bands are taking even this opportunity to release music. And one other thing, Chris, is that you almost sounded like a musician there talking about city council meetings, because we've talked to a lot of them and they just say, they miss seeing the interaction and having that kind of feedback and the vibe. And the vibe, so maybe city council meetings are way cooler than we thought they were. Maybe they are concerts. I don't know.
City council meetings are where it's at.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you. But I know we're wrapping this thing up.
We are.
I'm a big fanboy of everything Pretty in the Algorithm does. You guys are like my favorite humans in the world. I like to surround myself with creative people, and you guys epitomize that. What you bring to the general populace is, for me anyway, speaking personally, things things I need, things I crave, and I'm really thankful to be in your orbit. So anything that I can do to help support you guys, and whether that's just feeding you beer, I'm more than happy doing it.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you very much.
I hope we can keep doing some cool things. You guys were doing some really great things at Chapter 2 before all this. So maybe for our next bar tab, we should rock, paper, scissors right now. Ready? 1, 2, 3, pull! Ah! What's that? Is that just 3 beers? Is that what you're giving us?
I don't know what that means.
And Chris Holt with a whole new symbol for rock, paper, scissors released right here.
Scissors, rock. What was it? Never mind.
Chris, I look forward to more little live streams today of your unboxing of this huge tank. Thank you to Chapter 2. Thank you to your Fish Fridays. If you're from the community and you guys are looking for great takeout, Chapter 2 does it right. They also have the Choose Your Own Adventure where you can go into the building, or you guys have the great patio outside, so you can just walk up to a huge roll-up door and pick up your booze and your great food. So thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Justice and I will be back tomorrow morning. Take care.
Have a good one.